guys, it's Lainey here with Steel Strength Training, and today we are talking about dairy. I'm very excited about this topic, and I'm excited to get into different aspects of dairy, different viewpoints, and kind of the controversy of dairy as a whole. All right, so here's our outline for today. We're going to be first talking about not everyone thrives on dairy, and then we're going to talk about arguments against raw milk. We're going to talk about potential benefits of raw milk and should we try it. So the main theme is going to be raw milk, but we're going to talk about normal milk as well. Okay, here's Finn. He's in a lot of my videos, but unfortunately he is a guest every week. But we're mainly going to talk about raw milk because that's kind of the hot topic here, but I am going to talk about dairy in general, kind of the kinds of dairy we see at the grocery store and what I would recommend for that as well. First, we're going to talk about not everyone thrives on dairy, all right? We see this firsthand, especially in America. There's many people that I know, that I'm sure you guys know as well, that are lactose intolerant, which means they cannot digest or tolerate well in their gut the milk sugar, which is called lactose. So that's why they're called lactose intolerant. So we see that a lot in the last 200 years. There's lots of hot topics on why we have seen an increase in lactose intolerance, but we will get into that further on. All right, so what kind of milk do I recommend? I don't think there's one specific one that I recommend, but I will say, and we're only talking about milk, like dairy milk today. We're not talking about nut milks. I personally drink whole milk. I think whole milk is the best option. There's going to be less additives. There's going to be more natural amino acids and vitamins, and you're not adding in things to make up for the ingredients that are lost whenever you do skim milk or whatever it is. So the reason why I recommend whole milk versus other skim or 2% milk is because whole milk has more fatty acids. It has natural fatty acids, which is beneficial to us for many ways. There's many reasons why. Those fatty acids are beneficial to our bodies, but it is something to note with nutrition. I think we think that we should have it figured out by now in terms of what's the best thing. Everything's controversial. Everything's not black and white. So I think having that approach, and that's something I've learned, is like, I went to school for this, and I still don't feel like the things I learned in school were necessarily the right answers. So it is a very gray topic. So that's how we need to approach nutrition, is not I'm right, you're wrong all the time about every single topic. I do think that there is black and white things in nutrition, and that's why I make these videos, is to help you guys understand how to interpret nutrition and how to kind of ignore certain things in this field. So I recommend whole milk, and I think it's good to have more satiating fats in your diet, and getting your fats from things like dairy, from cheese, from things like that, instead of getting it from donuts, croissants, fried foods, things like that. Like, we need fats in our diet, and so where we get our fats, where we get our calories, needs to be things like dairy, avocado, meats, things like that. These are healthy fats. We don't need to be scared of them. Yes, if you eat fat 24/7 and no other macronutrient, then yeah, that's not great. But we need fats, and we need to stop being afraid of them. So that's why I recommend whole milk. All right, so let's talk about the controversial topic of raw milk, okay? So we see raw milk a lot on TikTok now. Influencers are talking about it. It's finally coming back around in the health industry, in the food industry, and we need to know what to do about it. We don't need to just blindly start drinking raw milk and not doing our research. So first I'm going to talk about the arguments against raw milk, and then I'm going to talk about the benefits of raw milk. Okay, so the main reason why the government has made raw milk illegal is because of the harmful effects of the bacteria and the pathogens that get into raw milk. So because it's raw, it's not cooked, bacteria is able to live in the milk, and then whenever we drink it, that's how we get it, okay? So that's why Pasteur many years ago created, which it actually was only about 200 years ago. It's not a very old, pasteurization is not an old thing compared to how long we've been on this earth. So it is a relatively new thing. People have been drinking raw milk for hundreds and hundreds of years, okay? But pasteurization started because a ton of people were dying from raw milk, okay? So they had to do something about it. So Pasteur created a technology to heat up raw milk, which then caused all the pathogens, all the bacteria in the raw milk that were harmful and good bacteria, and kills all of it. All right, so it kills all the bacteria, good and the bad, in the raw milk. So then it became safe to eat in terms of the harmful bacteria that was making people sick, and that solved the problem for the most part. So the main reasons is not because raw milk is unhealthy, but a lot of people, especially the government, is saying that the risks outweigh the benefits of raw milk. I think it's pretty, I think from what my research has shown me, it's pretty obvious in general that raw milk is indeed healthier. But the main argument that people are trying to figure out is, are the risks too high for the high benefit of raw milk, okay? So did the risks outweigh the benefits and vice versa, all right? So that's kind of what we're trying to figure out today, and what you need to figure out for yourself and for your family. All right, let's talk about the benefits of raw milk, okay? The first thing is going to be digestion. This is a big one, and that's because people in general, especially with pasteurized milk, there's a lot of lactose intolerant people, all right? It's a big thing here in America. It's been a big thing in the last 100 or 200 years or so. But it's very interesting because raw milk is actually easier, not everyone, but it's easier to digest in terms of the lactose because of this enzyme called lactase. All right, so that's Lactase. Lactase enzyme helps digest lactose, all right, the milk sugar. And that is why lactose intolerant people can actually have raw milk, which is very opposite of what it would seem, okay? And then the other thing, immune system, natural raw milk can help boost your immune system, as well as gut health. And gut health is because there's a bunch of probiotics and enzymes in raw milk, and whenever you pasteurize them, you kill everything good and bad. And so whenever you pasteurize things, you remove all the natural probiotics and prebiotics in that milk, okay? So gut health will be improved. It'll help support that because of those probiotics that are naturally occurring in the milk. Okay, so is raw milk healthy, safe? Let's talk about the safety aspect, all right? This one's very hard to understand, and it's quite a risky topic as far as safety goes, okay? And that's really the main arguments against raw milk, is the safety concerns. So one thing I've learned is that all milk is not created equal, okay? There's good farmers who take care of their cows. They make sure every aspect of their processing of milk is safe. People are following guidelines, so on and so forth. But there's always going to be those bad apples. There's always going to be those farmers who don't make sure of those things. And that is what is causing contaminations, all right? Whether it's E. coli or whatever it is, okay? So back in the years where a lot of people were getting sick, around, I think it was around 200 years ago, we're in these very small, unsanitary, whether it was feedlots, dairy, I don't know the exact terminology, but they're in more unsanitary environments, so people weren't washing their hands. We didn't know all the things that we know about now in terms of bacteria. So a lot of our technologies have gotten better, and that's why people are saying that raw milk is safer now, is because we know how to do it well. We know how to try to prevent those pathogens from entering the milk in the first place. Okay. And the problem with pasteurization as a solution to this is because you are not making the process healthier. You're just covering up mistakes that the farmers made in the first place. So the cows, they need to be taken care of. If the cows and the whole process is taken care of and it's done right, there should not be pathogens and bacteria that enters it, okay? But because people weren't doing that, our solution was, instead of fixing the process, we created a cheaper way, imagine that, a cheaper way to kind of put a Band-Aid over that mistake, okay? So instead of fixing it, we just heat up all the bacteria and kill it all, good and the bad, all right? Instead, the best way in terms of the research I've done, I think, is to make sure that the process is done well and as safe as it can. All right, so with that being said, that is why if you decide that you want to do raw milk for your family and for you, you need to trust your farmer, okay? And it depends on what state you live in, and there's a couple resources I'm going to give you guys in terms of finding a local raw milk place near you that is safe, that we know the process is good, and that there's most likely not going to be pathogens in that milk, okay? It is not, and that's the hard part. We cannot know for sure if there's going to be pathogens in it or not. And that is the high risk that you take whenever you consume any type of food in general. And that's the thing, is that raw milk has gotten such a bad rap, but you pose this risk with any type of food. That's lunch meat, that's veggies, that's when you cut into a cantaloupe, when you eat raw eggs. Like, there is risk in food in general. It's not that raw milk is the only thing that bacteria loves to live in. They like to live in everything. I know. I've seen it with my own eyes. So it is not that raw milk is the enemy. It's that we have to be really careful and make sure that we're doing the best. The farmers are doing the best thing that they can to store it. So is raw milk worth it? I think that's something that I can't decide for you. I think it's something that you need to do your own research, try and see if you trust any farmers near you or if you want to take the risk. I think that raw milk is 100% healthier, but if it is too big of a worry and a risk for you, or you're immunocompromised or pregnant, I would definitely advise you to ask your doctor or dietitian or whoever it is. I want to end on this anecdote that I thought was fun to share, and that is my sister actually did a lot of research into raw milk, and she actually started drinking raw milk when she was pregnant, which is crazy and against everything that we've ever been told. And she has been doing it for months and months now. I know people who've been doing it for years through pregnancy and have never been sick ever, okay? So my sister has absolutely loved it. Her kids love it. And it's actually interesting because her daughter has eczema, and there's been a lot of studies that have linked to raw milk helping eczema and allergies in general. And so they kind of got on the raw milk train because of many reasons, and that as well. And so we'll kind of see. It's kind of a case study, I guess, to see if it helps my niece's eczema over time. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below your thoughts. Give this video a thumbs up, and I hope to see y'all in the gym soon.